There's no such thing as coincidences, or are there? Many events throughout recorded history have odd ways of coming together, dropping weird, prophetic hints at things to come, or bringing a sequence of events full circle. Here are just a few of the freaky coincidences that are stranger than fiction. The Armistice license plate. In case you slept through history class, here's a quick recap. One of the major events that kicked off World War I was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. It's an event that's become so mythic that it spawned a number of weird legends, like the idea that in 1913 he hunted down a white stag and was targeted by a mortal curse as a result. We're not really sure about that one, but there is one strange coincidence that's absolutely true, and it concerns his car. The Graf and Stift double Phaeton wasn't the cursed car of doom it was rumored to be, but it did bear an odd message. The car sat in a museum in Vienna for almost 2 decades before a British tourist pointed out the odd significance of the vehicle's license plate, which reads A111118, as in Armistice, November 11, 1918, the famous date of the agreement that ended World War I. Predicting Pearl Harbor. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941 changed the course of World War II. Global tensions were already high, so it's terrifying to think that someone inside the United States may have not only known the attack was going to happen, but may have been passing information to the public in the weirdest way possible. On November 22, 1941, The New Yorker ran a few ads for a dice game called The Deadly Double. And because advertising is a product of the times, the ad showed the game being played by people hiding in an air raid shelter. It wasn't until after the attack on Pearl Harbor, 2 weeks later, that people started noticing what numbers were showing on the ad's dice, including one ad with dice that showed 12 and 7, which seemed like it could be referring to the date of the attack on December 7th. Other similar ads piqued the interest of military intelligence, but it all turned out to be a weird coincidence. The theory that these ads had advanced knowledge of the attack was so widespread that the New York Times even ran a piece on the game's creator to debunk it and declared it a case of people's imaginations getting the better of them. Founding Fathers versus the 4th of July. Ask any red-blooded American what July 4th is, and you're bound to get an answer that involves independence and hot dogs. But July 4th has another strange significance that's usually overlooked: Founding Father fatalities. 5 of America's founding fathers served as president: James Madison, John Adams, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe. But that's not too unusual. The weird part? Jefferson and Adams both passed away on the exact same day, July 4, 1826, on the 50th anniversary of the ratification of the Declaration of Independence. The coincidence didn't go unnoticed. When Daniel Webster wrote a joint eulogy for them, he said, "It cannot but seem striking and extraordinary that these two should live to see the 50th year from the date of that act, and the heavens should open to receive them both at once." Only a few years later, in 1831, James Monroe went up to powdered wig heaven, leaving 3 of the 7 gone on the birthday of the country they helped found. That's enough to make anyone believe in signs. But before you assume that the 4th of July does nothing but terminate presidents, it also gives back. 30th President Calvin Coolidge was born on July 4, 1872. 9/11's pop prophecies. There are plenty of ridiculous conspiracy theories suggesting the U.S. government knew what was going to happen on September 11, 2001, but some pop culture coincidences are enough to make you wonder if something out there in the universe was trying to tip us off. One such coincidence is hidden in a video game called Deus Ex, released in 2000. The story takes you to New York City, where 2 buildings are conspicuously missing: the Twin Towers. While they were left out of the game for programming reasons, what's especially chilling is that the game's lore acknowledges their absence, saying the buildings were destroyed by terrorists. If that's not weird enough, there's also the band Dream Theater, who released their album Live Scenes from New York on September 11, 2001. The cover featured an apple, the Statue of Liberty, and the Twin Towers, all on fire. When Noise Creep spoke to Dream Theater's Mike Portnoy, he called it one of the strangest coincidences of my career. And if you really want to believe that the truth is out there, there's the pilot episode of the X-Files spin-off series, The Lone Gunman, which aired on March 4, 2001, and featured an airliner being hijacked and almost hitting the Twin Towers, as well as a conspiracy theory to blame the act on terrorists. That's not even the last of the bizarre coincidences surrounding September 11th. Triple Terror. According to The Telegraph India, the vacation nightmares of Jason and Jenny Cairns Lawrence began when they were visiting New York City on September 11, 2001. When it came time to pick their next vacation, they decided to stay a little closer to their Birmingham, England home. They chose London, and on July 7, 2005, they were in the nation's capital when 4 bombers attacked the London Underground. In 2008, they were faced with making a vacation choice again. They headed to Mumbai, and they were staying in the Colaba area when terrorists attacked the city on November 26th, taking almost 180 casualties. There's just one word the Cairns Lawrences need to learn: staycation. Life finds a way. Life is one of the most iconic magazines of the 20th century, and its pages have featured countless defining moments, starting with its very first issue on November 23, 1936. On the inside, the very first photo is of a baby being cradled in a doctor's hands. That baby was George Story, and the caption reads, "Life Begins." Story went on to become a journalist, but that's not the big coincidence here. On April 4, 2000, Life announced it was ceasing publication. With the end of Life magazine also came the end of Story's life. He passed away a month later of heart failure at the age of 63. Thanks for watching. Click the grunge icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.